So I was on Twitter a couple months ago. It was before I started the channel, but I remember coming across this take and it's been in my mind ever since, and I have to talk about this because I think it is a very important subject. The tweet went as follows. I am strongly against people writing devastatingly depressing books that then get loads of critical acclaim and endorsement for their quote-unquote great writing. If you can produce quote-unquote great writing, maybe don't install harmful mind viruses into everyone who picks up your book. Just a thought. Then continues, transmute darkness into something hopeful, meaningful and useful. Don't just leave your characters stuck in a state of victimhood and pain. Then again, people have forgotten the elegance of a true, with a capital T, hero's journey and have somehow begun to think you can end a story with the protagonist getting swallowed into the mythical underworld. That was never the point of bringing darkness into a story, it was always meant to be transmuted. So, yeah, when I came across this tweet for the first time, 3 things came into my mind. 1, what the fuck is a harmful mind virus? 2, the road, and 3, Fahrenheit 451. I will come back to the first point at some point, but I will follow up at first with the 2 stories that came into my mind in the first place. The Road by the acclaimed Pulitzer winner Cormac McCarthy tells the very depressing, sad story of a father and his son trying to survive the devastation of the world, basically. It's set in the United States, but it's presumably the world that is gone into shit, and how little hope there is for both of them to actually make it to presumably like a better side or better world or better place. And spoiler, the father doesn't, the father dies and the kid is being taken by another couple to be eaten. It's not explicit in the book, but it is what's going to happen. Same in the movie, the ending is so bleak. So yeah, I thought about The Road when I first came across this tweet because it is basically what the Twitter user is against, right? And the book is a very known one and an acclaimed book at that. Because this book in particular is known for its bleakness and also for its lack of hope and for its quote-unquote great writing. Because it is an incredibly well-written book in both prose and the form. And I don't know, I doubt that she would agree with me on that one. I don't know her personally, but I guess so. The second book that came into my mind was Fahrenheit 451. And I was vindicated because another account that I follow religiously on Twitter also talked about this topic when the tweet first did the round on Twitter. But in the book, the main protagonist, Montag, is taken into custody after he reads a poem that made another character cry. And she was crying because as she was reading the poem, she realized how empty and meaningless her life is in the society they are living in. In the book, the books are banned because they make people feel negative emotions, and that was not good for society, apparently. And it feels like this Twitter user is feeling the same type of way. She doesn't see the value in being uncomfortable or sad or whatever because of stories. And she does not see the importance of those books, which is, in my opinion, an incredibly sad thing to publicly say. Well, let's come back to her tweets in the first place. There are multiple questions and comments to be made. First of all, is the harmful mind virus just sadness? Is it? I hope it is not, because, well, catharsis is a thing, and to be able to induce senses of emotions out of writing is the point of fiction. And I would even say that negative emotions are important in fiction as well as the positive ones, because they are also part of life and should not be discounted just because they are bad emotions. On the contrary, because fiction could also help you deal with what's happening in your real life. I mean, would you rather people to just take the Soma thing from like The Brave New World or The Perfect Day? I need some tea for the rest of this video, good God. Fiction does not have to be meaningful or hopeful or even useful. It is such a distasteful and disturbing concept that art should have a value or utility to be valued. But also, darkness has intrinsic value and meaning and use. Negative emotions are here for a reason. You are feeling them for a reason. And negative emotions are useful and meaningful in and on themselves. If you don't know sadness, you don't know real happiness either. You would be apathetic, and that's not nice or positive. States of victimhood and pain are real states that exist in the real world and that should not be discounted. And there is a lot of meaning and lessons to be taken from those states. The characters that go through these states will teach us something. Not all stories have hero journeys, and it seems like a very YA young adult thing to say and a very YA-centric discussion to me when it comes to that point particularly. And I put T absolutely everywhere on me because I'm so passionate about that damn subject. Also, elegance, it is not necessarily like a positive or hopeful thing. There is elegance to darkness and dark themes. I mean, Gothic literature is a beautiful literature that is, you know, very loved and well known for a reason, and for that as well. There is elegance in discomfort as well, I guess, like in the books of Poe or Lovecraft, for example. Your own sense of comfort and prettiness doesn't negate negative emotions being brought up by books. Darkness in a story can be the purpose of the story, and it can be meaningful and useful. Transmutating it into a positive thing may not be the best way to solve it, or may not be the point of the story, and it is okay to feel upset by that. And that is okay, but if you genuinely feel upset by your story not being ended in a positive way, I would genuinely, sincerely seek help at that point. And I'm saying this in the nicest way possible. It seems like a very unhealthy way to cope with reality, to not only desire only positive things in books, but to absolutely hate any sense of darkness not being turned into positive things in a fictional story. It is also very simplistic because, you know, true heroes' journeys and mythology in general were very fucking negative and super dark as well. There were not a lot of positive to be taken from these stories. I've seen some comments, and I think that she's talking specifically about the book A Little Life that I have never read, and I do not really care about this book. And even if she's talking about this book, she should not make a broad generalization just for clickbait, just so that people click and comment on this topic. And I mean, it's working, I'm doing this video. I mean, she has a blue mark, so she's probably trolling and trying to make bucks. But this kind of very black and white talking points that we see a lot on social media is so harmful. Like, I think she's genuinely equating a book being sad to a book being bad. And it is genuinely mind-blowing to me. It's like the kids trying to cancel writers who write about very dark things because they think that writing about the subject is endorsing the subject, like George R. R. Martin, for example, because of like the incest and the grape thing or whatever. And I've seen here and there as well that the performative depression thing at the moment is a bit hype. I don't really know. I only read science fiction, mostly with fantasy, and most of it is pretty dark. Anyways, it's very doomeristic at heart. But I wonder what they mean by it. Like, many people are just happy to encounter stories that ends like in real life or spoke to them in a real sense. I mean, mental health problems and issues and depressions are a real thing. And I think a lot of people are just genuinely happy that they can relate to characters and stories that look, or at least kind of have the same feeling as this. Because not everything in life works out, and sometimes it's good to be reminded that as well, I guess. I would also argue that discomfort is the point of fiction to some point, along with being able to bring empathy. Yes, it is nice when characters are nice and triumph over dark stuff happening to them, but life is not always like that. And I feel like the best stories are also the point where characters, you know, take the darkness and go with the darkness. At the end of The Lord of the Rings, for example, Frodo, sure, takes over the darkness and he destroys the Dark Lord, but he still has a lot of darkness in him by the end of the story, because he is completely unable to go through with what's happening to him and what happened to him and what the ring did to him. He still has a lot of darkness that is not being changed and transmuted into positive at the end of the story. And that is why I think the end of The Lord of the Rings is such a powerful ending, because it is not all beautiful and light and, you know, positive in any way, because life is not always like that. I mean, I'm going to be very personal here. I went through depression 2 to 3 years ago, and even though I'm feeling better now, I'm off meds, I've been off meds for 2 years, I'm feeling good with my life right now, I have a good job, I have a perfect fiance, I have, you know, lots of different things that are working out for me, I still am feeling the consequences of these very dark times to this day, because it will always be with me, even with the therapy and the work that I did on myself, because life is not only positive, and even if you do all the work, it's going to stay with you because that's just what it is. Life cannot be only 100% positive. As I said, my view is heavily skewed towards science fiction and fantasy anyway, and that can be a bit doomeristic. And I know that the Twitter user here doesn't really read science fiction, like it is clear from her replies, apart from probably like young adult fiction, which is also clear by the way she's referring to the hero's journey. But I have taken some very important life lessons that has changed me as a person from very dark stories. Because they were dark, they helped me through these difficult times I was just talking about, with lessons that I would not have taken from necessarily more positive books. That to say that closing yourself from feeling negative emotions just because they make you comfortable is both disturbing and I think dangerous. You can have a preference for more positive literature, that is fine, I do not care about that. But saying that you are against people writing darkness is super fucking crazy when you think about it. And you should maybe not care as much about what other people are writing about. Just don't read the negative stories if you can't handle them, and get help. Sadness is not a mind virus. It is a part of life, a very important part of life. And if you cannot process them into a story, you will not be able to process them in real life. It shows a profound lack of maturity for me. But again, it is a social media thing to not be nuanced, so maybe here you go, it's just about trolling and maybe she just wanted to make a quick buck out of it and I am playing right into it. I mean, the tweet now is like 3 to 4 months old, so who cares? Art is about nuance and emotions, and we should not police those negative emotions just because they are hard. They are supposed to be. It is the point. And I will end on the fact that, of course, I do not mean anything negative towards the Twitter user. She is well within her rights to talk about whatever she wants and to express those feelings. I'm just saying that being against something that is not bad, that is actually a good thing, and saying that any story has to be ending in a positive way for them to be useful and meaningful, and for her to say that art in any way, shape or form should have a use or a meaning in order to have value is very silly and is a very dangerous idea. It's a very pervasive concept that we are seeing at the moment in both social media and, mainstream media, that art and fiction in general has to have a use in order to have a value. And I think it is generally such a dangerous concept that we should not entertain in any way, shape or form. And again, I have nothing against her. She is well within her rights to say that she didn't like A Little Life, because it is apparently a very bleak book that isn't based on an actual true story like the author wanted people to believe. I think there is something like that related to the book. And she's, again, well within her rights not to like the book. There are plenty of books that I do not like either, and I say that pretty publicly. I'm just saying that the generalization is both harmful and stupid. Not saying that she, as a person, is harmful and stupid. I'm saying that idea that she's putting out there there is a very big difference between those two. I have nothing against that person. I hope she's doing well. I hope that she's reading incredible books, and I hope that maybe she will be able to see the errors in her worldview, and that maybe she will be able to like a story that is maybe a bit more dark in the future. That's all I hope for her, is that she is learning from fiction like we all do at some point. That's it, guys. It is a bit of a quicker video just to talk about a subject that I've seen on social media a couple months ago, and I was going back to the videos, like the list of videos that I have, and I was seeing that video again and was like, yeah, I have to talk about this because it is an idea that we see going around on Twitter a lot. It's not only her, it's a lot of different Twitter users that are saying the same thing, and I think it is a dangerous idea that we should, work against, because yeah, art shouldn't have these points in order to be valid and to be valued. Art is art, and even if not all books are good, all books should be able to talk about a lot of different things, and that's it. Even, depressing subjects or difficult themes and subjects and stuff, you should be able to talk about absolutely anything. Please tell me what you think about this subject in the comments below. I really feel very strongly about this, and I hope that I was not too harsh on this person. Again, I don't want to be harsh on anyone. Anyone is more than able to express these feelings, and so am I. And that's it, really. Yeah, that's it. I hope that you liked this video. You can find me on different social media, Twitter, Instagram, GoodReads and TikTok, and I will see you guys in the next video. Can I get a wahoo? Cheers!